Ladies and gentlemen, you are joining the greatest wrestling podcast of all time. Yeah, that's right. The Heelcast. We are back this week. Joining me tonight is none other than CS for his third show on the Heelcast. You're getting to be a regular now, CS.
Yeah, third time is the charm, and I'm here to stay.
Also with us is the man, the undisputed, the undefeated Goldberg. Goldberg, what's going on?
What's going on, guys? Got a lot to say about this week's show.
Yeah, we got a lot. And it's gonna be a lot of fun talking about this show. But one thing I love about the Heelcast is we don't have to kiss ass. We don't have to leech off other podcasts. We do certain things, and I guess other podcasts like it, and they like to steal some of our format and some of the people that we can get. But nonetheless, I love being on this show and just being able to cut it raw. So with that being said, let's get to the plugs tonight. Definitely want to give a shout out to Wrestling with Wrestling. Check that YouTube page out. So much content. Andre Corbeil, nobody works harder than that guy. He's doing a wrestling event almost every week and posting videos, supporting podcasts. So we're very happy to be on that channel as just as much as we are on our own. So give a shout out there. Give a shout out to the People's Championship Wrestling. Check them out. And impactasylum.net. Good stuff to talk all things Impact. And that's what we got for the plugs this week. So let's go into the news. Not a huge news week, but we do have some things to talk about. The big news, though, Brock Lesnar is a free agent. The WWE, for whatever, didn't re-sign him, or maybe they trying to save money and they don't feel like he was worth it. So Brock Lesnar is a free agent. Goldberg, I'm going to let you start this one off because I don't really got too much to say about it.
All right. Well, I'm going to give here's my prediction for what happens with Brock Lesnar. After Orange Cassidy takes care of Chris Jericho, they got to bring Brock in for a feud with Orange Cassidy because that's the matchup we've all been waiting for, right? Or I mean, for years I've been wondering, can he take Orange Cassidy? But in all seriousness, I obviously the rumors going around is that Brock Lesnar has been doing this. Every time he becomes a free agent, he think he's going to go back to the UFC. I believe he's 42. How old is he? Is he 42? Does that sound right?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
I think he's 42. So you know what? I saw John Bones Jones talking some shit on Twitter about Brock, but I mean, I would hope John Bones Jones at this point could take care of Brock Lesnar because I mean, I don't know many 42-year-old guys getting in a UFC ring. So I do think Brock. I don't see him going to any other company. So I think he'll wind up back in WWE at some point. And I really, I think that's where he should be. I mean, where else is he going to go? He's not going to go to AEW. Not going to go to Impact. So I think, everybody's probably right. He's probably using this as some leverage, and he'll wind up back at WWE at some point.
I think he'll go back to WWE. I do not see him going to AEW. AEW, that would be a big move for them to do it, but also he's not the easiest guy to work with. I mean, you remember the story with Jericho and Brock Lesnar getting in a fight in the back? Mm-hmm. I just don't think. Yep. I do not see him going to AEW.
How about him punching Strowman in the head? Remember when he did that?
Oh yeah, yes I do. I do remember that. Yep. Wasn't that during the match?
Yeah.
Was that during the match? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay, I do remember that.
Punched him right in the skull.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's just a money ploy. He'll get his money eventually. and he'll be back in WWE. I don't think AEW has a shot, but if they shell, if the cons are stupid enough to shell out that much money for him, then let him, because that he's going to give you 5 matches a year, if that, 4. I just think that's not going to work too well. I think fans won't be too happy.
Although the cons have seemed to be stupid enough to do a lot of things with that show, so I wouldn't put it past them to shell out the money for him. But I don't know. Brock Lesnar and Orange Cassidy. Now that gives me chills. It's gonna be the match of the year. Come on, guys, you gotta give him a chance.
Brock's gonna end up in the mimosa tub.
Stop! I can't handle this. This is getting me really excited. Yeah, I don't see him going there unless they actually do give him a lot of money. And then Impact, I don't think they really have the money because they got to shell out a lot, and I think they're trying to manage anything that they're making right now in the right places. So, yeah, it's definitely a leverage play there. Maybe he's just done with it and wants to just do his own thing. So, who knows? He might just be trying something different.
Yeah, I just think his whole thing with Brock Lesnar or with Paul Heyman is just kind of run its course. And then, of course, what does WWE do? They put Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman, because you have to have Paul Heyman on your show. But
you know what? I think that's the first smart thing they've done in years, so I'm not going to hate on it.
Well, you're right.
I want to see Roman. I want to see him as a heel. I don't even know if he is technically a heel right now, I guess, because he's with Heyman, but at least they're trying something. I mean, because it's unwatchable.
Yeah, well, I actually did watch Payback, and I gotta say, it wasn't the worst pay-per-view ever. I actually didn't mind it. I do like some of the things that they are doing on the SmackDown brand of things. I do like some of that stuff. I love the Bray Wyatt stuff. I think that's been pretty good, even though they can't really book him to save their life. Yeah. But I do appreciate the Roman heel turn. I just to him to win the title so quickly, it's just like, oh gosh, okay.
Right.
But
that's yeah, exactly.
It's a little too late kind of situation. They had a chance to do this a long time ago, and it's like now you do it.
Right after he comes back from an injury too.
Right.
I don't know, but that's a whole nother can of worms that I do not want to open up.
No, we'll keep that close.
Yeah, we'll keep it close. But yeah, Brock and Impact, there's literally no chance. Impact's got money, but they are not shelling out stupid money. And AEW will shell out stupid money, I think. I honestly think they're going to take the bait, but they're not going to win it. They've lost out on some bidding wars already for Randy Orton and the Good Brothers too. Let's not forget that. They lost that one, which I think is a very interesting story in itself. But all right, next news.
But they have Marco Stunt, so that's good.
Well, they got Marco Stunt. They got Tyler Perry, or not Tyler Perry, Luke Perry's kid.
Yeah. These are some
Luke Perry's kid.
Big time competitors, man.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I mean, I looked at the card for Dynamite tonight. I couldn't even tell you who Jericho was wrestling. I couldn't even tell you
Joey Janela.
Oh yeah, Joey
Sonny
Janela.
Kiss.
Yeah. Who's the other? John Moxley was wrestling some guy I never heard of too. It was just what is going on over there?
I hate when they do that. When Moxley's fighting MJF and they give him that little tune-up match, I guess you can call it, where he's going to beat the shit out of some jerk. It's just, I don't know.
Why do they have so many jobber matches? They literally almost have a jobber.
They are built on jobber matches.
It's
They're
like
built
watching.
on flipping and jobber matches and comedy. That's what their whole company's built on. Give these guys real matches, and oh god, I can't get started on that fucking company.
Yeah, like what are they doing? They don't. I mean, they literally have a squash match once a week.
Yeah.
Like you
So
want to have one in a blue moon.
Lance Archer
Fine.
could beat up every dope, but when push comes to shove and he fights someone with a name like Cody Rhodes, he loses.
Yeah,
Like
that's
and now he goes back to just squashing everyone. Like what? That's
And
not how you fucking.
yeah, it's like there's no unpredictability. It's all like, all right, we know how that's gonna go. Okay,
Yeah.
that's predictable. It's like, oh wait, so and so is coming in. Okay, all right, now they're gonna lose it. It's like, what? There's no. That's not how you build heat. You want to think, oh, anything could happen, and like it's like if you see a jobber, you're not going to get excited about them because it's like they're not going to invest in making this seem important. It's probably 45 minutes of filler
Yeah.
and then 15 minutes of something actually worth watching. But the rest is just like, hey, we got another match and it's the best match ever. Like, who cares?
Right.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what AEW is doing, but yeah, yeah. Well, moving on, we got our next news story. A bit of sad news. Bullet Bob Armstrong has passed away. Bullet Bob Armstrong, for guys that are in our age group and girls, you don't really know. You didn't really see him in his prime, obviously, unless you want to go and I don't, go on. I don't even know if you could find anything on the network or anything with him, maybe, but he did have some stuff in TNA. He did have that angle with his BG James and Bullet Bob. They had a few matches. I think it was against Kip James, I believe. I
Yeah.
believe that few. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It was.
which was actually pretty good stuff. And he had some good, like from what I remember, he had good mic skills too. Even at his advanced age, like he could still cut a pretty solid promo. So I'm not doubting that this guy was a very talented wrestler in his day. And he also birthed, or not birthed, but he gave his fathers to all the Armstrongs. So that's quite a wrestling family there.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much talent in that family. It's it's a sad day, and uh, he's just really talented. I mean, back in his younger days, and even as an older, wiser talent. I mean, he really had a positive influence. So it's you know definitely a sad day.
Uh, Goldberg.
Yeah. I think the last I remember him, I think it was him who, I think he had I remember him having an angle with LAX, with BG and Kip. I think they had a little feud with LAX there. And, I mean, those are two iconic tag teams. And, yeah, he was involved with that. And yeah, I remember him teaming with his son with Road Dogg or BG James. And yeah, I mean, he's a legend. So rest in peace.
Yeah, there's no question. So yeah, thoughts and prayers to the Armstrong family, and but the guy did have a long life, so
Sure.
that's always
A
a good
full life.
positive thing. Yeah, he had a full life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, he had a full life. So, anyways, some kind of minor news, really. Well, okay, so we did have Mauro Ranallo. He did leave WWE.
Mhm.
I guess it was kind of a mutual thing, I'm guessing. But, Mauro Ranallo is, he's had some issues with mental health and depression. And he's had suicidal thoughts. But Mauro Ranallo, is this a guy, when you hear his commentary, would you want to even go for a guy like Mauro Ranallo to bring him in? Or do you even think there would be a chance that Impact would bring him in? Goldberg.
Yeah, I don't think there's a chance Impact will bring him in. But I wouldn't mind it. I do enjoy his commentary. But I honestly, I think it's a moot point because I don't think there's a chance they bring him in. Maybe AEW brings him in for like dark, like they did with Taz originally. But I don't see him coming to Impact.
Yeah,
CS.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. That's definitely a long shot. I mean, he's great on commentary. He would make a great addition to Impact. Um, I would think that it would need to be the right environment for him to like invest, especially um, for as long as he's been in WWE. Uh, it's going to be a change, and if he's in the right place to do it, I guess there's a chance if that's what he's looking to do still. Um, but with Impact, definitely a long shot. But who knows? Stranger things have happened with the new additions that we have now in Impact. So I guess so. You just got to wait and see if he's still looking to do the same thing.
See, and you just mentioned it. It would have to be the right scenario and the right situation for him. Me personally, I'm not taking a flyer on him only because you got Matt Stryker kind of working with you, and I think Matt Stryker's really good. Maybe, Morrow, maybe he's a little better. Maybe he's a tad better than Matt Stryker, but I'm not taking a guy that has, and I know that I don't want to sound insensitive, but I don't know if I want to deal with a guy that's just not, he's too unpredictable with himself. And I know he may, he may be struggling with interpersonal demons and it's something he cannot control, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to play the wild card with that. And I think, especially when you got a guy like Matt Stryker, who's like the wrestling fan, like ultimate wrestling fan, and he's a good commentator. I feel like Impact's got a good, they have a good commentator. Obviously, you got Josh Matthews, who does a lot for the company, even though you don't like him as a, commentator. Fine, but you got Matt Stryker waiting in the wings. I wouldn't go after Morrow really. He's got a very good voice, but he's just too much of a wild card for me. You just don't know what'll set him off, and I don't want to mess with that. Do you guys understand kind of where I'm coming from with that?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Without really sounding insensitive to some of the issues he has, but
no, it's fair. It's fair. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The next story I just kind of wanted to touch on was Madison Rayne is having her last independent wrestling match. I want to say it's somewhere in Chicago with Freelance. No, maybe I don't know if it's Freelance or it's One Warrior. I think that's out. It's somewhere in that greater Chicago area. But she's doing her last independent wrestling match. So, do you guys like? I don't know if that just means she's just not taking any bookings and she just wants to concentrate on just Impact's matches, which could be the case. But it almost sounds to me like she's getting closer to retiring. CS, I want your thoughts on that.
That's a real good possibility. I mean, she's not getting any younger. She's taking on different positions in the show with partly the commentary and uh, some of the backstage segments. Less wrestling. So yeah, maybe she's looking towards transitioning into a different area in wrestling instead of doing the in-ring part. So uh, although she has mentioned about getting back in the ring here and there, I think she's definitely looking to slow down on the in-ring action and transition into something new.
Goldberg.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with CS there. I wouldn't mind just seeing her. I think she'll still appear in the ring every once in a while. But I wouldn't mind seeing her keep going with her little talk show that she's got going on. But I mean, no offense to her, but I hope this is not a long-term announcing solution, which I don't think it is once they get back to live crowds. But I like her little talk show thing, and I hope she keeps up with that. I'll leave it at that.
I think she's still really young. Like it's kind of crazy how long she's been wrestling, and she's only like 33, 34 maybe. I don't even know if she's that old, but I guess she does have a lot of miles on the tires. And she's a tiny person, so
Hang on,
I'm
she's
sure
34.
if
I thought she was old.
yeah,
You're right.
she's
You're right. She is 34.
she's
Okay.
not that old.
Maybe her and Josh plan on having children. I don't know. Maybe
Oh,
That's
yeah,
another
that's
going
thing.
on, but there is no reason to retire at 34. I mean,
She
no
does.
reason.
no.
She should still be in the ring. I mean,
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. She should. Right, but women wrestlers don't usually last as long as male wrestlers, for various reasons. But yeah, she's 34. I don't know if she's planning to have any kids. I know she does have one child, so I don't know if she's having any more. But I personally would like to see her keep going. If Impact would have been smart and they would have brought those knockout tag team titles back, I thought that would have been a great place to put her. She's got history with those things. She could have teamed up with Kira like they were kind of going before the whole COVID stuff. And, that just kind of went away. And then we got the locker room talk, which I have nothing against. They are entertaining sometimes. So, yeah, but that's kind of my thoughts. I hope she gets like maybe one last serious feud, push, whatever. Not saying she's got to win the Knockouts title, but I don't know. That's just kind of how I view it. Really, that's kind of all I got with that. As far as news goes, I'm gonna bring one last thing at the end of the show because it has to deal with the ending of Impact, and we're gonna have a little discussion on that and what we think. What we think that could possibly mean. So we'll bring that back around at the end. But anyways, let's get into Impact right away. Impact this week. We started off with a match between Rob Van Dam and Sami Callihan. Some very interesting makeout session between Rob Van Dam and Katie Forbes. It was a little creepy, but whatever. Got it done. But this match and then the whole kind of shenanigans afterwards. Goldberg, what's your thoughts? Sami Callihan gets the win, obviously. So what's your thoughts?
yeah. Well, I'm glad Sami Callihan broke his 84 match losing streak, because he's such a good character. I'm glad he's at least he won a match. Rob Van Dam and Katie Forbes, like you just touched on, I like their little tandem, but I could do without them entering the ring and making out. And I mean, it wasn't even a makeout. It was just literally tonguing, and it's a bit over the top to me. And I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of over those two and what they got going on. But and I know we touched on this before the show, but how many times could a referee let somebody interfere in this match? I mean, Katie Forbes jumped on the ropes. Even the announcers had to mention how ridiculous it was and try to excuse the fact that she got involved in this match so many times. I mean, it was just ridiculous. But I knew Sami Callihan would win this match. At this point, RVD is, he's just enhancing people. He's just going to put people over. So, okay, good first match. That's fine. I'm fine with it.
Do you feel, Goldberg, that RVD has been putting on better matches since getting away from cancel culture?
Oh yeah. And I thought this was an okay. I was fine with this match. He didn't seem old, and I know I said that last show that that it was enough with him, but I'm okay in this opening a show, not for the heavyweight championship, obviously, not fighting for the title, but opening in the show and losing a match to Sami Callihan. That's an okay match to me, and he didn't look old in this match. He looked fine to me. So I guess it's the role. It's basically whatever role they put him in, and I think this show they put him in a good role.
CS, why don't you give your thoughts?
Match was okay. I still feel like RVD is still looking his age. I would definitely agree about the whole making out stuff. I I get the point of doing it all over the place, but maybe they might want to pull back on it a little bit because it's not just cringy. It's sort of like, okay, I don't. I'd rather watch something else. I don't want to see that constantly. So you don't want to like overdo it to the point where people just like get annoyed by it and don't want to watch. Um, the the whole segment was okay for what it was. I kind of feel like it was a bit. It does feel like a little bit of filler, just so Sami Callihan could like move on from that feud and go to something else, which is fine. I think he needs to be put over. Although I just feel like a little bit like they're not sure what to do with him now. I think the whole face turn is a little bit weak. I hate it when they do a face turn and they're trying to be nice or trying to be good. Like I like when face turns are like they stay badass and the audience just loves them so much that you just put them in a different situation where it's easier to cheer for them. I was ready to be like a total fan uh, back at Bound for Glory. I thought it was totally over. And I don't think you would have to do much to really just turn them face a little bit. But hopefully they do something a little bit better for him moving forward. I just felt like this match was just like it's all right. It was an opening match, but it didn't deliver as much as I would have wanted it to. How about you guys?
I like Rob Van Dam. I still think you can put him in high profile matches while still, you know, I'm not
This
the
wasn't
guy.
even a high profile match, though.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. And that's what I think they could use RVD better. And I don't know, that may come across a little kind of crazy at this stage of his career, but I still think you can put him in main events type matches. I still think, Sammy obviously has proven he can be a main eventer. I still don't know what they're going to do with a face Sami Callihan. I hope he's going to turn heel, in the near future, because I just don't see this face stuff working. But I did enjoy this for what it was. I think they had a pretty good match, and Sammy getting the win was fine. The feud seems like it's still going to go because of the beatdown at the end. So I don't know. Those pretty good though. I don't really have any complaints about it. So and Katie Forbes, like I get like she overdoes it, but she is kind of funny when she does some of the things she does. It's like if she could just focus on what can work for her and what doesn't work, I think she can really like improve as a performer. But I did love the I don't even know what you call it, the ass ram into the chair to Sammy Callahan. I thought that was actually pretty good. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
that was pretty interesting. I have to agree with you on that.
Yes. All right. So then we had kind of cut to a segment with Hernandez and Falaba. They did an arm wrestling match, and Hernandez won. He got all the money. Reno Scum comes in there and basically says, you hired us last time. We got the job done for you. But, if we take out Rhino, we want all the money. And that kind of went into the 1-on-2 handicap match with Rhino taking on Reno Scum. Rhino gets the win because Heath was a cameraman and he decides to kind of interfere in the match and do his finisher. And Rhino ends up beating Reno Scum. Your CS, why don't you give me your thoughts?
I don't know about you guys, but Rhino is kind of like, to me, he's very two-dimensional. His promo last week was very like, I don't know, 1980s indie kind of lame. If you want to disagree with me, that's fine. It's just he's getting kind of lame to me. Uh, Reno Scum are cool. I think they could do more with them. I can't tell if they're just kind of not jobbers, but just filler there. I like Keith. I think there's a lot of potential with him. I think they're using him the right way. They really want to push him and get him over. The match was great. Um, Fernandez, his character now it's starting to grow on me. I hope they do more with it. I kind of feel like with him, they're trying to figure out what more to do with him. This whole uh, I don't know, the arm wrestling and the money thing. It's something. I mean, it's something to start with, but I hope it goes somewhere because to me, it's still a little bit basic. They can do a little bit more. It's not where it could be, but I do hope that they do more with it. Um, I think the whole segment is is good for what it was, but to me, it's still a little bit too basic. They can do more with it, and I think there should be a little bit more creative investment there. How about you guys?
Goldberg.
Yeah, so I actually have a few things I want to touch on here with this match. First of all, I agree with CS, and I think that Reno Scum, they need a better angle. Well, I shouldn't say a better angle, but they should not be a jobber tag team. Um, I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I actually think that they could be in a contention for tag team titles. They have character to them. They can both talk. They have a nice look. Um, I think that they should be competing. Maybe this is a segue to them getting bigger roles, but they should have a better role than just trying to take money from Hernandez. Um, that's my first point with this. My second is that, yeah, Rhino definitely shouldn't be kicking both their asses throughout the match. Um, it, okay, I'm not going to harp on Josh and Madison too much throughout the show because watching this whole Impact, I didn't think they did such a horrendous job as I normally think they do. But there was a moment in this match, and I want to hear if you guys agree with me on this because I know CS usually does and Hurls you don't. So I want to hear both your thoughts on this. When Heath entered the match at the end there, and he interfered, and their reaction to Heath interfering was, again, who is this? Who is this guy with the mask and with the camera? And he dropped the camera, and now he's in the ring. And I think I think Josh and Madison probably were the only two people in the world who didn't know who was interfering in that match, considering Heath was having a social media campaign to be in this match and to appear on the show. And I'm just not sure also why. I get the storyline is he doesn't work here, but what in the world does Scott D'Amore, and like storyline wise, why in the world are they so tough on this guy who's playing a face? He's not a heel. Why are they being so hard on him storyline wise? Like it doesn't add up to me. Like how you're allowing, they've had this reaction to other guys like Brian Myers and other guys who've made their recent debuts, and who is that and who is that, and it's just the whole who is that thing and the whole he's not allowed to work here thing. Like it's kind of running its course to me. But please, I want both your opinions first, please, on their reaction to Heath interfering in the match, not knowing who he was. Go ahead.
I guess I'd have to go back and look at that again. We talked about Impact's pacing problems, and it also kind of reflects on the commentary sometimes when they don't sell. So that doesn't surprise me. But where I see this thing, obviously we got Heath and Rhino going back with each other. I also agree with Reno Scum. I think they're tremendous. I hope at some point that they're in line for at least a decent sized push, because yes, they can be contenders for the tag team titles. They are very talented. I've liked these guys since their first run with Impact. So I hope in the future that we can see them doing something. I don't necessarily mind them being like henchmen for hire, though. I think it's not a bad way to use them. It's just they got to get some more wins. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
CS, you got some thoughts on? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. They don't seem to really sell surprises, or either they undersell or they oversell, and it's like don't insult our intelligence and act as if we don't know what's going on, with
Right.
Heath. I mean, you kind of sell it that he's going to be there. He's going to be there somewhere, and I mean, it just makes it seem like, do they really think that we're that stupid and that we don't know who that is? It's just kind of it makes it. It's just lame. I mean, it's lame. I don't know if it's just the way they're selling it or the way they're writing it to make it seem like, yeah, the audience isn't gonna know and they're gonna be just as surprised. I mean, granted, you have a lot of people who are going to be like, "Oh, I had no idea. That's the best thing ever. I was so shocked." Come on, I am not that much of a mark where I'm going to convince myself that I had no idea it was Heath. And no, it was lame.
Who
And
else would be interfering in this match? I mean, come on.
the Invisible Wrestler. Come on.
Yeah, but exactly, and it's such a that to me like ruins the moment. Like if they would just let it happen and keep their mouth shut. Honestly, we know Heath was going to appear at some point, like you just said. We know he's going to come into this match at some point, whether it's during it or after it. Fine, but we know he's going to appear, and Yeah, you're right. It's almost insulting our intelligence. It really is. And I just their whole thing with Heath not working there is just like oh, and also see, I agree again, CS, with the fact that Hernandez's storyline, this has been going on for so long with this arm wrestling thing, and like I don't know, it just you need to Reno Scum. Bottom line to me is Reno Scum needs to move on to something that where they're taken seriously, because we knew that Rhino was going to kick both their asses, and I'm not feeling that. But yeah, Hurls, I'd like if you could rewatch that and see their reaction. I really want to know your thoughts after you rewatch that.
So okay, I mean, like I watched it, but I had to take a pause around this time because I had a fantasy football draft. But yeah, I could. I totally I totally know how they did it. Obviously, it's just plain stupid when overselling it when it shouldn't have been oversold. It should just been kind of left alone. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit. All right. So then we had you got the EC3 part where he's saying that he's basically going to shred the TNA World Title. I don't want to give our thoughts yet because we'll give our thoughts at the end. We also had the Good Brothers, kind of a weird. I don't know. They were like telling jokes, kind of make them see like the cool guys in the company, kind of. And then you had Des and Wentz, kind of. I don't really know. It was just it was kind of odd to me. Yeah. Did you guys like this Good Brothers thing? Like, did you guys find this?
No, I actually thought it was like, did someone write this, or did someone not know how to like put this whole segment together? Because it just felt so like, I know there was intentional awkwardness for the segment, but I I didn't get what the point was. I know they were trying to be cool and making jokes, and then you know I'm not really sure what they were trying to accomplish there. It was pretty much all confusion, and I don't know if they were just trying to sell. Uh, Honestly, I have no idea what was going on there. It was just a bunch of filler, and they had no idea what they were doing.
See, okay, I'm not the only one. Thank goodness for that, because
here's what they had to give the Good Brothers 30 seconds on the show. So that's it.
Did you like it, Goldberg, though? Did you like it? I mean, did you find the joke funny?
No, I didn't. I don't find any jokes funny. So no, I didn't find the joke funny at all. I don't even know what the fuck they were talking about, to be honest. He's telling us, like, I don't even know what they were talking about. He was drinking a beer and he fell asleep. Is that the joke? I don't even know what the joke was.
And then he let out a huge fart or something. Did I catch that too?
If that's the joke, it's the most unfunny thing I've ever heard. So I didn't even hear that part. All I heard was he fell asleep, and then I saw the Rascals come in, and I to me, it's just they wanted to put the Good Brothers on the show, and this was I guess a pre-taped thing just to get them in the show. And before I forget this, I just want to throw this out there, and you guys can both touch on this real quick. The North was not on this show, and I guess after losing again to the Motor City Machine Guns, I don't know where they're going to go from here, but they were not on this show. And if either one of you wants to have a comment on that, because I think this tag team is too important to just to disappear after this. But go ahead.
I agree with you there. I think they have to be on the show at least. Heck, give them like a Good Brothers type segment. Yeah, whatever. Just keep them.
I mean, unless they're trying to sell the loss and or they're trying to think of what to do with them. I mean, even then, that if they're actually putting them off the show to figure out what they're going to do with them, It's not very good for their creative that you know to take that time to figure things out. I mean, you should be better at doing this. If I mean, it's the North. I mean, they're both really talented, and Ethan Page is just. I mean, if they let him go, they're making another one of those big mistakes. Um, so I hope they have a plan for him. It, it just shocks me. They have all these tag team, you know, all these tag teams on the show, and I don't know, it's almost like they don't know what they need to do with all these people. They're putting them in these very flat, like filler segments, but with no real point. There's no building of heat. It's just like, okay, we'll just put this here for now, and then maybe later we'll figure something out. Does it seem like that to you guys? It just seems like they're not really sure what to do with a lot of these people, and they're just throwing things against the wall, though, thinking that something will stick.
That's
Yeah,
every wrestling company in 2020. I'm not trying to deflect off Impact, but I just see it all over the place. Like, I think Impact does the best job though of utilizing their roster.
No doubt,
I
no
mean, for the
doubt.
most part, like at least giving them time and segments. I just think, yeah, it was odd not to have the North on, or at least a segment where they're like, super depressed that they lost or something. Give us something with them because they're too important to not have on the show. At least something. Doesn't have to be a lot, but give us something. I agree there.
yeah. My thoughts on their storyline issues are about to come in the next segment, so I'm going to save it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna save the Wrestle House stuff for after this upcoming match. Then we can kind of talk about it as a whole. But the next match that we had was the Rascals versus Madman Fulton and Ace Austin. I thought this match was really good. It was quick, but it was good. Like they got their spots in. The Rascals end up getting the victory.
Yeah, keep laughing.
This
Keep laughing.
okay, but this is a
It's
catch
funny.
22 though. This is a catch 22. It hurts Madman Fulton and Ace Austin, especially the way they were kind of trending towards, like they were going to be the next, big thing. But the Rascals needed something as well. I have an idea where I think it's going, but I don't want to really give it. I don't want to say. I don't know. I get what you're saying. Like I can tell you're upset by Madman Fulton and Ace Austin losing this match, but the Rascals also needed a win. I mean, it was just like, you know what I mean? They both needed wins. So Rascals finally got a big win. Motor City Machine Guns come out there, give a kind of a funny promo. They challenge the Rascals next week for an Impact World Tag Team title shot. Goldberg, you got stuff to say about this, so
Yeah,
let's
I'm
hear
not.
it.
Listen, this may not be the popular thing to say, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyway. First of all, Ace Austin and Madman losing this match, it makes absolutely zero sense that they are coming off Ace Austin being in a heavyweight championship match and coming down to the final two and almost winning the title to feuding with the Good Brothers, which is a great feud, and now to losing to some potheads who have lost every match that they've been in. I don't even remember the last time another team that keeps losing. To me, the Rascals, their bit where they're smoking and they're getting high in the treehouse, it's cool, it's funny, but they don't need to be. They could be the Reno scum of joke. Like they could be a joke. They don't need to be competing. Listen, this is the part that I know is probably not popular, but they don't need to be competing for tag team titles. Ace and Madman were on the right track. They had the right storyline going with them, and I hate to be that guy who says, I don't agree with the outcome of a match, because I hate being that guy and picking apart outcomes of matches, but I just don't get this one. I don't get Ace and Madman losing fair and square to a couple of guys who haven't won a match in a while. I just don't get this one. And maybe Hurls, maybe you're right. Maybe they have a storyline for this and something comes out of it, and at least they attack them after the match. But I just don't get this one.
Well, the Motor City Machine Guns being involved in this kind of makes it a little more interesting because, they kind of save the Rascals from taking the beat down more than they could have.
But why are the Machine Guns facing the Rascals? Why are faces facing faces? Why are two clean tag teams fighting each other? I mean, who's the heels here and who's getting the heat? Who are we supposed to root for in this match? Both of them?
I think that, it's possible just because, okay, they kind of gave a reason. They gave the reason that, they gave the reason that that they were not prepared at Slammiversary, so they want to give them another chance. I just think it's just an Impact match. I don't think this match is going to be. I don't think this is going to be like, a huge pay-per-view feud. I don't mind it if it's just going to be a random Impact match. That's fine. I don't really have that big of an issue. Plus, you still have the fact that Ace Austin and Madman Fulton are still involved in this because they did the beatdown, and Motor City Machine Guns have now kind of involved themselves with Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. So, plus, you have the Good Brothers interacting with the Rascals. So maybe this is going to be some type of multi tag team feud going into Bound for Glory. That's kind of where I'm seeing this. And I think all four of these teams are just going to have these matches until we get some type of, I don't know if it's going to be an 8-man tag or a 4 corners tag match. I have no clue, but that's where I see this going. CS.
I don't think anyone came out looking good after this whole bit. Thinking about the Rascals, when they ran into the Good Brothers, they looked weak. They looked like confused. I kind of feel like it kind of made them look kind of dopey before going to their match. And then I guess it was good that they won their match after not winning for a while. But I mean, it didn't feel like there was much of a payoff when they did win. I mean, after you make them look dopey and then they win their match, I mean, that's not, to me, that's not building up heat or excitement or anticipation for their win. It just kind of made them look bad before going into their match. And then for Ace Austin and Madman to lose, I think that kills their momentum and heat moving forward. If there is going to be a feud moving forward with the Rascals or the Good Brothers, the only ones that kind of look good are the Good Brothers. And again, like they're kind of faces. The Rascals are kind of faces. Uh, I think the only ones that are not faces are Madman and Ace Austin. And even then, it's now you kind of killed their heat and momentum. Um, and then you have the Motor City Machine Guns come out, and the promo they cut, it's almost like they wanted to sound funny, but there was no like punchline. So they talk like they're trying to cut some sort of cool promo, yet be like good guys and nice guys, and we're going to give you an opportunity. It just seemed like no one looked good in this bit. They all looked kind of like weak and lame. Do you guys kind of feel like they all looked kind of like not fulfilling any part in this whole segment?
I think it's too early. I think it's too early to really see where it's going. That's where I don't think that's exactly though how I remember the Motor City Machine Gun promos going though. Maybe not like as friendly with other teams, obviously, but
I think Alex
that's kind of
Shelley
what I
is
see.
better on the mic than Chris Sabin. I'm just going to put that out there.
There's no question.
Oh yeah, Alex Shelley. I remember the bits he did with Kevin Nash and how awesome.
Sure.
So
Paparazzi Productions.
That was like that made me a fan. So I mean, I think they can do so much better with like all of them. And I'm just thinking about the machine guns. Like, hell, why not turn them heel? Why do they have to be the good guys? You know, they have the potential to be like. You know, I was thinking, you know, if you want to add another belt to the company, has anyone ever thought of adding like a X Division triple tag team title? I think that might be something that hasn't been seen on any show. And you could have the potential of having, you know, 3-man tag teams. I know I'm just throwing that out. What do you guys think of something like that? Like having big guy heavyweight
a 6-man title?
Yeah, but like sort of a X Division version for tag titles.
Well, WCW had that towards the end.
That's right. They had the cruiserweight tag.
They had the cruiserweight tag team. With Impact, I don't know. I don't know because this is like then it's because the cool thing about the X Division is, you know, you can have non-cruiserweights win it. I just think it would really restrict. It would really restrict the X Division wrestlers from really being able to get pushed up the card. But at the same time, it would be a cool idea. I almost like the you know the 6-man title or the 3-man title, whatever you want to call it. I'd almost like that better. But then Ring of Honor, you know, Ring of Honor, I think just they just made those titles like maybe a year ago or so. So I don't know. But I think if there's any title Impact needs, it's knockout tag teams first. But yeah. I definitely am not opposed to adding more titles.
Yeah,
and I'll let Goldberg answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it would be something different, so I wouldn't be completely against it, but I don't. I would have liked Hurls. I'm with you. I would have liked to have seen them bring the Knockouts tag titles back. That would have been the titles I wanted to see, and completely drop that idea. I don't know. I'd like them to focus more on the titles they have now, and they haven't. They just, and we'll get to this, but they just haven't even sold the titles they have now. So I'm not gonna. It's hard for me to believe they're gonna bring in a new title and make it worth something. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the obvious choice right now is the Knockouts because they've actually mentioned it and they've signed a ton of Knockouts, so it actually makes sense. I just don't know if they'd have enough with the 6-man, but it would be a good place. You know, obviously the Rascals would be the poster child for that title if they did make it. I just don't know, you know, who else would be in there. So But yeah. So, all right, let's go through Wrestle House kind of just as let's kind of just do how we've been doing and go through Wrestle House as a whole. Um, we can talk about the truce breaking off between Triple XL and the Deaners. We can kind of talk about that first. And before any of us give our thoughts on this, I got to go to Goldberg. Goldberg, you've been very critical of Wrestle House. What was your thoughts on this comedy brawl throughout the house?
Well, I know I've been super critical of them, but I actually enjoyed this segment, and I thought both teams did a good job, and I thought I thought they were both funny. I know I've said multiple times I've had enough comedy, but to me, these two tag teams did a great job in this spot. And my only gripe with Wrestle House as a whole is that it should have been taken a little more seriously rather than the whole thing being a joke. And I'm okay with a spot or a match here and there being a joke. And this to me was just, it was well done all around. I thought it was well done all around. I thought both teams both have come and Wrestle House. Are we reviewing this as a whole right now?
No, just this
Okay, just this spot.
brawl.
Okay, so I yeah, you know what? I know I've hated on it, but I didn't hate this. I didn't hate this match. Maybe it went on a little too long, and I think maybe 2 or 3 minutes of it could have been saved for the North to appear on the show. But I didn't hate it. I didn't hate any of it, and I actually laughed a couple of times throughout it, and it had a, I don't know, it just didn't, it didn't rub me the wrong way. I enjoyed it. And maybe that's probably not the answer either one of you were expecting, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was funny. I like both. I think both of them did a great job.
I'll go next. I actually really enjoyed this. It was funny. It had cool spots, had a lot of comedy, but the comedy really worked well. It reminded me of the Three Stooges. It really did. A lot of parts reminded me of something you would see out of the Three Stooges. But I actually really, really enjoyed this. Yeah, it looked silly, but who cares at this point? We're watching to be entertained at this point. We're not watching to think that this, it's actually, really happening. So this was a great conclusion to the conclusion of Wrestle House, or so we think. I absolutely, really, really, really enjoyed this. CS, what was your thoughts on this tag team brawl throughout the house?
It's exactly what I was waiting for. I thought it was a lot of fun. I like when they add in music to the segment. I've always said it's a TV show. I know it's wrestling, but it's a TV show, so use it like that, and it's better that way. I think it clearly they didn't take themselves that seriously. It was all in good fun and entertainment, and I think that in a lot of ways they were making fun of some of the wrestling tropes, like uh, when they were just standing there and he was running towards them and they're just like watching him come and he's like, dude, like you can get out of the way, and he's like, oh man, I'm so blown up, I need your help. Like it just makes me think of a lot of those like AEW matches where they just stand there and look up and wait,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
and and that's funny. Like I love when they make fun of, especially the other show and the stupid stuff that they do. Um, and if this is the end, again, it's one of those impact thing or TN. I don't know. It's one of those things that they do when like they start something new. and they are trying to find their place in the whole thing and trying to, you know, find their stride. And they finally get to a place where things are getting good and people are liking it, and then they drop it. Like, I hope they're not dropping it. I mean, they're they finally were getting to a place where it was like picking up steam. So for them to end it like this, uh, I'm disappointed because I am a big fan of it, and I hope this isn't the end of Russell House.
Okay, so bef- I guess before we do the final segment with in Wrestle House, let's just do the black tie affair with well, okay, no. Let's do the final segment in Wrestle House. Let's do the Rosemary Taya Valkyrie match with Johnny Bravo. Did you guys see Johnny Bravo proposing to Rosemary? Did you see that coming? I mean, I didn't see the proposal. I just thought they'd start, dating.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be dating. I didn't see a proposal coming. I'm not upset about it. I just didn't see that coming.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I don't know where you could go for, like, the only thing I'm thinking of is like, sure, you know maybe there's a little bit of something in the relationship going, and if there's a wedding segment, like, Impact can really do some really entertaining wedding segments. I
Oh yeah.
mean, so I mean, this could be a potential heel turn for Rosemary if things go terribly bad at a wedding. So I don't know. There could be something there to look forward to. Um, what do you guys think?
Well, I thought it was an interesting turn of events for Taya Valkyrie just to kind of go along with it after winning the match. But I'm almost wondering, is Taya turning face now? Maybe I don't know. Um, you know, I I liked it. I thought Wrestle House was just great all around this week. I thought it was. I mean, there was other segments obviously that they talked about with Kylie and stuff, but I I don't know. I enjoyed it because we said this for, I said this for weeks that this whole thing was centered around Rosemary, Taya, and Johnny Bravo. And then since this is kind of wrapped up now, it kind of seems like it's the end of Wrestle House. At least to me, they may go back down the line and do something interesting like this again. I'm sure they will. But for now, I think with them all being back now, I think this is the end of Wrestle House for at least a bit. Um, I mean, what did we get? We got what, 5 weeks, 6 weeks out of it. So it was a decent little run. Um, but Goldberg.
So are we? Is this the conclude? Are we reviewing the conclusion of this right now? Is this the
We're
last time
talking.
we're going to talk about it?
I mean, you can. I'm
Should I give my
assuming Wrestle
Should I
House is
give my
just.
finishing thoughts here on this whole
Yeah, go
program?
ahead.
Or?
Go ahead. Go. You mean yeah?
Okay.
Just yeah.
Okay. So I thought the end. Okay, let me start negative, and then when I get to the positive, I didn't give a crap about the end that he proposed to her. It just didn't do anything for me. So the whole
Mm-hmm.
point of the Wrestle House was the fact that Johnny Bravo was proposing to Rosemary, and now it's over. Like, so the whole thing was Rosemary was just waiting for Johnny Bravo to get with her. Is that the idea?
I think that was the main storyline going into it, but I don't think that was the whole. I
But it
don't think
ended
that
here,
was the
and
whole purpose.
I did
Yeah.
mention this last week, and I've been wrong on a lot of things, so I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I did say that this could be the end of Wrestle House this week,
Yes, you did.
with the two of them wrestling each other, and it was, and I wasn't feeling the ending, that the fact that once Bravo proposed to her, that was it. Like, I don't give a shit that he proposed to her. It didn't do anything for me. However, I will say that I've been rough on Wrestle House throughout this whole thing, and it ending for some reason was a little bittersweet to me because I I'm sick of the comedy, but they actually I'm gonna mark down Wrestle House as a success because they built characters, and that's all I ever ask a wrestling company to do is build characters. And now when I see these guys competing in regular matches, they have names now, and AC and Larry D were losers before this. I mean, let's be honest, they were losers, and now they gave them a storyline for 5 or 6 weeks, and now they're guys who I'm going to remember that they had a storyline, and now maybe they can compete in a match. And the same with the Deaners, maybe they can compete in actual matches now, and it wasn't to me. It was the bottom line to me is it was a success because they built characters. I don't care about the ending. I don't care that he proposed to her. I don't even care where their storyline's headed, to be honest. And it to me it was the surrounding cast that ended up being the winners out of this. And yeah, yeah, it's the surrounding cast. And I'm gonna if it's okay, can I name my MVP of Wrestle House because I know it's tough and they've all done a good job acting. But
Sure.
I'm going to say, I don't want to get them confused because the Deaners, I could get their names confused. Okay, I believe it's Jake Deaner. Is
Yes.
not the one with the long beard. He is. Wait, do they both have
Yes,
long
they
beards?
both have long beards. Yep.
Okay, he is the one that was wrestling with his shirt off and wearing jeans.
Yes.
Yes, he to me was the MVP of this show, of this maybe of this episode of Wrestle House, and even overall, I think his acting improved. It improved so much. His character got built, and he was funny. And he was funny in this, and he's my MVP. And there's a lot of second place guys. Larry D was good. AC was good. There was some good secondary guys, but that's just the opinion I had. And overall, I will say it was a success because they built characters. Okay.
I'm fully on board with you there. I think the only thing I'm switching up is I got my MVP Lawrence D. Notice how I said Lawrence D. That theme music when he switches over to Lawrence D was hilarious. Every time he showed up was pretty good stuff.
The love making music. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I gotta go like Lawrence D, probably then Jake Deaner, then AC Ramiro, then probably Cody Deaner, and then maybe Johnny Swinger at 5. Because Johnny Swinger Johnny Swinger's always funny, but he was good stuff. The double discount, that the swinger discount, the swingman discount. I love that with the cheesy laugh. Oh, that's good stuff. But yeah, I liked Wrestle House. I was actually thinking it was just getting its legs underneath them, and now to kind of go away from it, it's going to be hopefully, they can replace it with something that is also creative like this was. But I don't know. I mean, if they do a Wrestle House 2, I'd be on board for this because I think this helped pretty much everybody, maybe besides Alicia. I don't know. But I don't want to get into that. I don't want to cause heat onto ourselves.
Why did you have to mention Alicia? She was going to be my MVP. The acting range was just spectacular. I just, my heart just nearly stopped every time she spoke. Uh, but yeah, you know what? You guys are right about uh, Jake Deaner. I really, he really, I became a fan of his. Great looking guy, great look, great like personality, and I think Lawrence G. There's definitely going to be a future there if they continue with that character. So I mean, yeah, a lot of people really got to get their characters over with this Wrestle House, and if hopefully there's going to be a Wrestle House too, or if anything, continue those kind of segments on Impact in some way. I think it would be foolish just to let that whole type of filming just go away completely. I think they should bring elements of that on Impact and continue it because you can obviously tell a difference between like the two shows that one has a lot more um, sort of uh, situations going on and another one is a little bit more basic. So please don't let this go.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm just like this added like for shows that were just like match, 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 match. This would this was a nice break between that format, and I feel like if now that we're getting rid of that, we're not going to get that creative aspect anymore. It's just going to be. I mean, Goldberg, I'm sure you'll love it, but I want that creative outlet too. I want those backstage segments, promos, vignettes, whatever. I like that stuff. It helps build. So I hope they realize that this is something that they can build off of. So,
No, I actually think you were right. I actually think whoever said they were getting their legs underneath them, I don't. One of you just said it.
yes, that was me.
Yeah, I think they were just getting their legs underneath them, and maybe it's one of those things where like you're like, yeah, for me, it's like I had enough of it, but then when it ends, you're kind of like, wait, maybe I will miss it when it's gone. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
you got
I
to
think
give it
this is
time
just.
to develop. And
I think this is one of those things for me.
it's been what, 5 weeks, 6 weeks? I mean, you're just hitting your prime. I mean, the Hardys was spanned over a year.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to get Wrestle House for a year, so they didn't have time to go, longer with it. So it's like
Okay. Yeah.
what could have been kind of thing,
You know
So,
what? I think they'll have a second one. That's just my
I'm
opinion.
sure they
But,
will. I don't see
yeah.
them not. I mean, look at the Undead Realm when they were doing that. I mean, they did that through, sporadically.
Maybe Reno Scum will be in the next one.
They could be. They could bring. Yeah, they could bring different people into the next one. Who knows?
Wait, have we? I know you brought it up. Have we touched on the black tie event? Because I
It's
know you
coming up
brought it up.
next. It's
Okay,
coming
go
up
ahead.
next. Yep.
Go ahead.
All right. So Black Tie Affair celebration ceremony. Deonna Purrazzo. All the knockouts were out there. I I'm a huge Tennille Dashwood fan, so I'm glad that she returned. I was wondering when we were going to get her. Her. I like a lot of people thought they didn't know she was still with the company. So I'm glad that that's kind of been silenced now, thankfully. So Tennille Dashwood's back. Looks like she's going to be feuding with Jordan Grace. Wrestle House teleports back into the ring, and Kylie Ray kicks Deonna Purrazzo. What'd you think of the Black Tie Affair?
It started out somewhat lame, and actually, I think once Wrestle House popped back in, it got more exciting. I mean, even with Jordan Grace, and her bit, I was like, yeah, okay. But as soon as like the whole Wrestle House came back, it felt like okay, now we have a little bit more excitement and variety here. So I kind of feel like they saved the segment. Um, I they have something there. I hope that they you know meet that potential. How about you guys?
I like the fact that Kylie Ray, throughout Wrestle House, always kind of talked about her being the number one contender. So I like the fact that they jumped right to that, and they set up another feud with Tennille Dashwood and Jordan Gray. So that's I enjoyed that, but I'm a huge Deonna Purrazzo fan too. So I'm looking forward to this feud with her and Kylie Ray. Goldberg.
Yeah. Okay. A couple of things I want to touch on here, and I don't want to take up too much time, but here was my biggest problem with this segment, and it's when Tennille Dashwood came out. And I liked Tennille Dashwood, and I thought she actually cut a decent promo. Um, it was Madison Rain and Josh Matthews ruined it for me yet again. And I don't know if either one of you heard this, but when she came out again, it was, wait a minute, I know who that is. That's Tennille Dashwood. Oh, well, maybe you know it's Tennille Dashwood because her name is on the fucking Titantron, whatever you want to call it, the big screen. Her name is on the big screen, and she's clearly walking out while, as you're saying, I know who that is, Josh. It's Tennille Dashwood. And then Josh chimes in with his phony, it's all about me, Tennille Dashwood. I mean, it was so brutally done that it honestly ruined the moment for me. I mean, those two could just ruin any moment for me, and they literally ruined that one. And Tennille Dashwood came out and cut a decent promo, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts on that. If either one of you even heard that, but also I just real quick want to say that why were the Rascals? Okay, I get the Wrestle House guys came there, but why were the Rascals, who were about to fight for tag team titles next week, they were out there at a black tie event? Normally these events are done, and I also want your guys' thoughts on this. Normally these events are done and you have jobbers who line up around the ring to show up for these events. And the Rascals being out there and getting a title shot next week, I don't know why they were out there. Chris Bay was out there because now I guess he's a loser now too. I don't know, but it just, the announcing and the random guys being around the ring kind of ruined it for me. But I thought the promos overall and Kylie Ray and Susie appearing were well done. But please, somebody give me their thoughts on this announcing.
It's not good.
Did you hear it though? Did you hear the moment?
Oh
she
yeah.
said,
Josh, I
know
heard
who
that. I heard that. Like, Madison's wrestled Tennille in Impact before. It's like, yeah, I know. They state the obvious. They oversell it, and it doesn't sound legit. It doesn't sound. It sounds forced. You're right.
It was comparable to when Nevaeh made her debut, if you remember.
Oh gosh, yes.
That was the worst announcing that I've heard in my entire lifetime of watching wrestling.
Yep.
When Nevaeh made her debut, and nobody knew who that was unless you're an indie watcher, because I had no idea who she was. And the way Madison explained who that was, I don't want to go backwards, but we know. I mean, that was so bad. And this reminded me of it, where Josh, I know who that is. Okay, we know who it is too. Her name is right there. Like we know her, so it's just unnecessary. CS, what do you think?
Yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. I tried to just okay, concentrate what's going on in the ring and try not to listen to them because that was really bad. They're trying too hard. I just don't think they're either. They're not the best combo, or I think they both have run their course, and yeah, they need something fresh and announcing, and Josh needs to just do something else because if you keep trying this hard, no one's ever going to take you seriously. You know, you might as well just put the show on mute. So it was pretty
exactly
rough.
What I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
do you guys have any thoughts on the people who were around the ring, or am I just nitpicking?
I'm not. I don't know. The best thing about the whole black tie thing to me was when Willie Mack had black tie on with his socks. His socks had black ties on them.
Yeah, but at this point he has nothing else to do. The Rascals are fighting for heavyweight titles next week. Maybe I'm just nitpicking,
Well,
but
I don't have a problem with that. I don't know. Like, I don't think they're gonna win. I don't know. I just the Rascals always put on good matches, so I don't know.
the Rascals are entertaining. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
they're entertaining.
Yeah.
But it's the overall booking of this show. Like I said earlier, that just nags me because they have so many good wrestlers right now and so many talented people that this show, if it was booked correctly, would be phenomenal. And it's just missing something right now. And I don't. It's just missing something to me.
So you want Good Brothers versus Motor City Machine Guns right away then?
No. I don't.
No,
The Good Brothers
no.
don't need it. They don't need that. They don't need to be in that match. They're already over to me, and I don't mind them as the cool guys like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. It doesn't bother me them in that role. They don't need to be in the title match. I think Ace and Madman should have won that match. Maybe they should be fighting next week, but I don't know.
But then again, they lost to the Good Brothers.
But they could have
I
won
don't
tonight. They could have beat the Rascals.
They could have. That's true.
The Rascals, and they've lost multiple matches in a row. The Rascals.
But I'm telling you, this thing's going to be a multi-team match. You're going to have teams, win, lose. I'm telling you, this is where it's going. It's too obvious. You had Good Brothers and Rascals, kind of. They had a segment. You had Madman Fulton versus the Rascals. Then you had Motor City Machine Guns. All four of them are connected, and I think this is going to be a multi-man match.
They have so many good tag teams right now.
They have
so many.
They have tons, but I don't know. You guys kind of feel like the Good Brothers don't have any equal competition. I'm not saying the other tag teams are. They're just like on a different size level, basically. And
see, that's a beautiful point. That's a great point, CS, because there's only one tag team that if they got into the ring with them right now, I would maybe debate who would win the match, and it's the Motor City Machine Guns. Other than that, they will never lose a match. The Good Brothers, they'll never lose.
The North? What about the North?
The North,
I don't know. They're nowhere to be found right now.
Well, 1 week. I get what you're saying.
That's fair. But okay, that's fair. So maybe the North and the Machine Guns, but
yes, they're on above.
I didn't think the North would lose twice to the Machine Guns.
Guns, yeah. They're on a level. Yeah.
I also think Rhino and Heath may team eventually, and if they hire Heath, which I still don't get why they won't hire that guy, but it makes no sense storyline wise. I'm saying
why they keep. Yeah,
it's just like he's a good guy. He's a face. Like there's no reason why you wouldn't just let this guy wrestle. But it's not like normally you save that storyline for heels. Who interfere but
he did this though. He did this in WWE. That's why I think they're doing it in Impact. He wasn't he a free agent and he was trying to get hired by Raw at some point. Yeah, and I think Impact's utilizing that to have him do this role.
It's kind of lazy, don't you think?
It is lazy.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's also like they know he can do this well, so maybe they're going to try to do their own spin on it, like with the commercials and stuff.
I mean, that's fine. It's just like, and Heath and Rhino, I guess that's okay. I'm kind of getting bored of Rhino. Again, very two-dimensional, and maybe I just don't like him, but he doesn't do it for me. He's just like, dude, it's 2020, not 1992.
But that's the same thing with Rob Van Dam. Like you could say the same thing about RVD. And listen, to me, I agree with you. Heath should not be teaming with Rhino. He should be in singles competition at main event status because he's that good on the mic and he's good in the ring. He shouldn't be relegated to begging for a job. It's just like Hurls, like we've seen it. Okay, I get it, but he should be in singles competition. He's too good. And this is my main gripe with Impact right now. They have a stacked roster and they are not booking them correctly. That's it. That's it.
there's another title they need. They need another title between the X division and the
like a
heavyweight.
Legends title when they had the Legends
or
title.
TV.
Right.
Well, not TV, but global.
Yeah.
Bring global.
Yes.
Something.
Yes. Absolutely.
You need
Well,
that to
maybe,
just build.
I was thinking there was a time when Impact had all these like lucha type of wrestlers. Um, I know you have the X Division title, but like if you're a masked wrestler, you know, this is a title for all these wrestlers that have the costumes and the masks like that. Because to me, if you're gonna have a championship, you want it to be representative of who's the best in this type of sort of genre or area of wrestling. If it's just a stepping stone type of title, like uh, thinking of a European or TV title, when it's just a step, like when people say a mid card title, to me that just means like, okay, you're somewhere in the middle. The championship has nothing to do with specific type of wrestler. It's just a level. That's why to me, it's like, okay, it makes sense to have women's championship. That's specific. Uh, Tag team. That's specific. Uh, X division. That's specific. So if you're going to have a championship, it has to be something sort of original. You're getting something completely new out of this type of wrestling. The Grand Championship had something, you know, different. I think it was executed kind of poorly in the process. Uh, so, like, I agree with you guys with uh, adding another championship, if only if it is uh, something new on the show. That's the only reason why I mentioned like a triple tag X Division championship because, um, you know, uh, if you guys remember back in the early TNA days, like what was it, the Flying Elvises? There were three of them, and there were a lot of three guy X Division
Yeah,
matches.
for
And
sure.
today it's like sure the whole show is like almost like high flying X Division, like you see AEW and all that. If you have just a segment with that type of wrestling, at least you get something different throughout the show, and it's not all the same thing. That's just my thought on championships.
Okay, let me ask you another question though. Don't you think like Kurt Hennig versus Diamond Dallas Page, Starrcade '97? Don't you think when Diamond Dallas Page won that United States title, it elevated him to another level? Or
Okay, I yeah, absolutely. I think for me it was the story that delivered it. It wasn't the championship so much. It was the story that made his win for that championship that brought him up that level. Um, I guess it's debatable whether or not the championship itself elevated him, but I think being against Kurt Hennig uh, and that whole storyline, I think that really made the win important for that title. If that makes any sense.
yeah, no, I get it. That storyline was amazing with DDP. Is he NWO? Is he not NWO? I love that. I I just think it's good for guys to have another or something to go towards. That's if you're kind of stuck in that big pit, like you don't fit in the X Division style, but you're not at main event status. It's nice for them to have something else to go to. And who knows, like my complaint could be totally null and void if the TNA title is an actual title, which I still have no idea, if it is or if it isn't. I guess we'll find out soon, but I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. But let's get to the main event because this is definitely worth talking about. I actually, there was something in commentary during this main event that I actually liked. And it was when Madison Rayne was pointing out that Eddie Edwards doing these title defenses every week is going to make you exhausted and fatigued. I kind of liked that they kind of planted that seed. You know, so I'll give them kudos for that. I don't know. You can give your thoughts in a little bit, Goldberg, on if you like that or not. But yeah, Eric Young winning the world title, beating Eddie Edwards. Eddie Edwards' second reign is a little over a month. Me personally, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I think that this gets them out of that storyline, and maybe this was the goal the whole time. So maybe it wasn't as bad of a creative as we thought it was going to be. But Eric Young as world champion could be very interesting because there's a couple different routes it could go. Goldberg, give your thoughts.
Okay, where do I begin here? All right, first thing I want to say is let me touch on the announcing. Madison's. I know let me just touch on your point. Madison's been saying this every week, is that Eddie defending the title may catch up to him. So she has been planting the seeds to this happening. But first of all, Josh Matthews once again ruined the ending. He did it. He called the pin before it even happened, casually, like it was just another pin. It wasn't a main event title match. It was just another pin, and 1, 2, and Eric Young is going to win the championship. Like, it just wasn't a big deal to Josh Matthews for some reason, but to Neil Dashwood appearing was a major deal for Josh Matthews. So that annoyed me. After the match, Eric Young beat the shit out of Eddie Edwards some more, which I liked. And Eric Young plays this fucking role unbelievably good. And he is so good at being a heel that he is a genuine heel. And it is great. But as he's kicking Eddie Edwards' ass and he leaves the ring and Madison says, that was just disgusting. So you're a heel announcer and you think the heel getting the edge is disgusting. Who are you rooting for? Because I still have yet to figure it out. So those are my two gripes with the announcing in that match. I was dumbfounded at that. I didn't get it. Another thing that bothered me in this match was the fact that Eric Young won by using his mask. Maybe I'm wrong. Is that not a plastic mask? Anyone?
Depends if he had a legit one.
When he wears it backstage, it looks plastic to me, and it looks like a Halloween mask. And it was just hard to believe that Eddie got knocked out from that. But okay, fair enough. He's a heel. He cheated to win. But those were the things that bothered me. The result of the match did not bother me. And I'm glad they put the belt around Eric Young, who is a heel and can portray a real character, which Eddie Edwards did not have. And this was an awful, and I don't want to steal CS's thunder, but this title reign stunk. I'm gonna leave it at that because I know CS has some thoughts on this, but his title reign stunk, and it was, I guess it was a transition reign, but I do want to hear your guys' thoughts on the couple announcing notes that I mentioned, and then I know CS, you've got a lot to say.
Okay, so thank goodness the Vanilla Championship reign of boredom is over. I'm definitely happy that is done with. As far as the commentary goes, yeah, I mean, I don't know why Josh Matthews has to spoil the finish within seconds of it actually happening. It's kind of lame. And one more reason why I think it's time for Josh to either go behind the scenes or just try something new. as far as the um, actual result of the match, you know, the match was great, went well. The beatdown was a good delivery to just establish the heel heat for Eric Young. Um, Using the mask, I get it. It's a gimmick thing. It would have been nice to if you grabbed a bat and had a little bit of a repeat of the whole uh, I uh, where was he hitting the orbital bone or something. Uh, Hopefully, if Eddie gets a good beat down, we can get the old crazy Eddie Edwards back because dude seriously needs an upgrade. Um, uh, yeah, so it was. I guess this is a situation. It was good for what it was. I'm glad they are going in this direction. Eric Young is definitely putting everything he has into being that type of crazy heel character. Um, I don't know why, but I still feel like there's something missing in his heel character. Uh, it just feels a little bit too uh, PG or PG-13 to me. Like, I get it, he's crazy, but there's got to be more they can add to this character. There's still something somewhat sort of safe about it. So I, I'm happy with the result. Uh, I, I I guess I just want a little bit more. I think they're playing a little bit too safe.
I, see, I going in another direction, a different direction. I don't really view Eddie as vanilla because of the fact that he was given this storyline. I he he's playing the good guy baby face no differently than maybe Bret the Hitman Hart, but he was saddled with this title defense every week. Didn't really get into a proper feud. Now maybe he will, because he's going to try to go back and get a rematch, obviously. But clearly they had this storyline in mind, so I don't mind it. I'm glad this thing didn't go. I didn't like the idea, but if this was the direction they had planned all along, maybe I can see it a little more, if that makes sense. uh my question to you guys: do you think Impact kind of hot shotted their titles in the last few months? And this is kind of the question I was waiting to ask you guys, because you bring in MCMG, Motor City Machine Guns. They win the title their second match. You bring in Eric Young. He wins the titles first. You bring in Deonna Purrazzo. She wins it within a month. You had Chris Bay, who just came in and won the X Division title. Do you guys think that this was the right call so quickly after bringing all these guys in? I just kind of feel like all the guys that have been there for a while, it's almost kind of like a slap slap to the face. And Goldberg, you can answer that first.
Yeah, but they've always done this, so it doesn't surprise me. They always, anytime, it's like a running joke. Anytime Impact brings, they immediately put the title on them. My only question is, why didn't they just put the title on Eric Young from the beginning when he first appeared? I guess they wanted his little angle with Rich Swann. I don't know, but why not just put a title on him then? Why are you giving Eddie Edwards a month run of shit fucking opening card matches where he had absolutely no character, and you give the title to Eric Young on an Impact? Why it should have at least happened on a pay-per-view. Go ahead. I know you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, maybe they wanted to leave the fans on a good note, I guess. Not saying it wouldn't have done a good note, but there's still people watching that. I'm sure there's still people that are rooting for the faces, that are watching Impact, not rooting for the heels.
Like Eric
I
Young.
think they
Yeah, go ahead, CS. Sorry.
I think they were kind of they weren't going very creative with, uh, I guess, meeting the moment. I mean, they have all these people here, and their thought is, okay, uh, what what are the fans going to want? And they're probably thinking of the sort of the match marks. We'll give them all these matches and these championship uh, changes. They're going to love that. They're going to see this as, oh, things are really moving and changing. And, as long as we fit all these matches in here, people are going to be excited for the show. And, basically, storyline is sort of secondary and just deliver on champion, like everything is focused on championships and filling in those segments with a lot of basic wrestling tropes. Thank goodness for Wrestle House, you'll at least have some character building. But just like with the World Championship uh, bit with Eddie Edwards, it's like their their thinking was, okay, we didn't have a defense with the championship because of everything that went down with that. So we'll just pack all these matches in here because somehow more matches throughout the week, all these weeks is going to make up for the lack of championship matches, story or not. And when you have that kind of mindset of like it's all about just making sure that you have a match and making sure that you focus specifically on a championship and winning a championship. That's all that really matters. And I think that's where you sort of lose uh, the opportunity to build heat to that point. If you're not developing a story to really build good heat, then it just becomes sort of just a basic not even wrestling, a sports show. And to me, it's not just a sports show. This is television. It's a completely different dynamic. Uh,
Um, yeah, I got really nothing else. I just feel like I think they hot shot these titles on the bigger names too much, and maybe they feel like they have to just to get them to be happy. I don't know, but I just wish that it wasn't so fast. I would have liked to see Eric Young go through a couple feuds before he was kind of involved in the world title scene, but I don't know.
But
I
you
don't
know
know.
what? There's another side to that because I agree with you, Hurls. But then I say to myself, I love unpredictability, and I love when I don't know the outcome of a match, and we get on Impact for its predictability, and we know the outcome of every match. I didn't expect Eric Young to win this match, and maybe I could look at it as the other side of the coin that they surprised me and they put the title on somebody who's probably going to carry it better than the guy who had it. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be too negative about it, I guess. But they do have a tendency to immediately put titles on debuting people. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Yeah, but and once again, what can Eddie do with that storyline though? You know what I mean? Like,
He should
what
have been,
can he
but I
really
agree.
do?
See, he should have been Crazy Eddie. He had no fucking character. He's just he's just a guy who is defending the title every week against people in the opening match on the card. Like it was just they didn't do any. It's not his fault. They didn't do anything for this guy. They did
I
nothing.
mean, he could have been a face and Crazy Eddie, and that's what I'm saying. Like why I said him being vanilla. It's like he didn't even, unless they told him not to do anything like the Crazy Eddie, but he didn't even try to like put some character or something different. It was just like trying too hard to be the, the good old nice guy with the white hat and sparkling smile. It's like
Did
uh,
he even ever cut a promo?
I think he did cut some promos, but
The fact
again,
that we even have to think about it, like he didn't even cut
But
promos as the champion.
yeah, he didn't, but he also didn't get into a feud. That was the problem.
He was the fighting champion. He was the fighting champion.
Let's see what happens now, though. Maybe he reverts back to Crazy Eddie because of this.
I hope so, but he's not going to have that title back around his waist. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't. Probably not. I mean, Bound for Glory. I would imagine Rich Swann's going to get a shot. I think Rich Swann might be the guy they're gonna have go up Bound for Glory. And if that's the case, I think Rich Swann's winning the title. I really do.
I hope not. I know you like him, Hurls, but he's an X Division guy to me. He's just not a heavyweight guy. That maybe that'll change when he comes back. I don't know. Maybe I'll look at him differently. But as of right now, he's been in the X Division for so long. I don't see him as a heavyweight guy right now.
Well, they better work on that storyline if they want to deliver, him as a championship. They better build him up as like a potential champion. If you think about, AJ Styles, everyone had thought of him as only X Division, and then he was able to work his way
and
up.
that's
But you have to
that's a great point. That's a great point. But wait, that's what I say about Ace Austin before they put him on this track to Loserville. I pictured him as an X Division guy, but they put him over. They legitimately had me believing that he was the next. Okay, obviously not AJ Styles, but if you will, a guy who can go from the X Division to the heavyweight division, and they buried that pretty quickly. But yeah, I'm with you on that. AJ was an X Division guy, so it can be done, but they have to work at it. You can't just throw Rich Swann in the heavyweight title. I mean, I got to respect him somewhat, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what happens here, but I don't know. I'm not really complaining. I like Eric Young. There's no question. I just would have liked to see him work up to it a little quicker. But you are correct. The element of surprise is always a good thing, and it keeps you engaged. So I don't have any problems per se with that. Finally, to wrap this up, let's get to the final segment with EC3 playing the mind games with Moose. Moose walks into that room and he sees like the detective work that EC3 was, the spine on Moose, different locations throughout the U.S. So this was a very interesting segment, and the most people think the knife was in Maryland. First off, I'm going to ask you guys two questions to wrap this up. Some Impact fans seem to think this has something to do with Ring of Honor because the dirt sheets were claiming that EC3 was going to do stuff with Ring of Honor. So either two things are going to happen. A, Impact and Ring of Honor maybe have something going on. I don't think so. My personal belief, I don't think there's a chance in hell. Or B, the dirt sheets got it wrong and EC3 was going out to Maryland to film this segment with Moose, which I think is more likely. So then the dirt sheets just got this totally wrong. What was your thoughts on the post-credit scene, so to speak? And what's your answer to my question? CS.
They definitely need to keep doing post-credit scenes. I mean, it is a really good way of getting people looking forward to the next show. So they shouldn't skip it. They shouldn't do a little something post-credit for every show. I really liked what they did with this. I really like the fact that they took Moose throughout the whole show, going, throughout the building and asking people, "Where's EC3? Where'd he go? Did you see him?" The guy with the shirt with "Control Your Narrative." That was great. And to answer your question, as far as Maryland goes, I just don't see something with ROH. Uh, I don't I don't know why that would even be worth it. I I'm thinking they would have filmed something out there. Um, so that makes a lot more sense to me. And it could probably be a replacement for the lack of Wrestle House. So
Oh,
maybe they're going to do some sort of you know uh, final deletion kind of situation. That would be entertaining. I would love to see that. Uh, those outside of arena, um, you know, cinematic uh, vignettes or segments are definitely something that should continue from show to show. So if that is what they're going for, yeah, that would be amazing, and I would be really excited for that.
Goldberg.
Yeah, well, I would like to see Ring of Honor and Impact do something together. I mean, I think who wouldn't want to see that? But yeah, like I'm with you guys. I don't see it happening. Um, I don't know how that would even work. I don't know
Yeah.
what would even happen there, but it would be interesting. It certainly would be interesting. It certainly would have some people tune in, people that are fans of both shows. So it would be interesting. So is EC3 debuting in Raw? Is that set in stone?
No, it's just Dirt Sheets ran wild with the fact that ROH is taping in Maryland, and there was a story that EC3 was going out to Maryland to I guess work with Ring of Honor. Like that story is out there. I can send you the link.
Yeah, it does
And
seem somewhat coincidental.
I
I
saw a
mean,
lot of Impact fans trying to say that they're trying to put the two and two together.
right,
So
right.
I don't see it. What Ring of Honor to me is the opposite of Impact, where Impact's owned by a TV station where they actually care. Anthem actually cares. I don't think Sinclair cares that much for Ring of
Yeah,
Honor.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna
Yeah,
happen either. But
and they just don't have good relationship. I don't think Ring of Honor. I wouldn't do it. I think it helps Ring of Honor and doesn't really help you that much. That's my opinion. Because I still think Impact's definitely the number 3 company as far as
yeah, yeah,
popularity goes. So
yeah, they are. They're
yeah,
definitely the
in the
number three
States.
company.
So
Yeah, yeah. Maybe there wouldn't be much in it for Impact.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point. Um, but I do like the whole. I'm with CS on that. I do like the whole angle where Moose is trying to find. He's running around backstage trying to find EC3. Um, so I'm just super interested in how this culminates, and I can't wait to see these two finally get into the ring. And I want to believe EC3 would win any kind of match they fight, but I wouldn't mind seeing Moose really be put over um, completely once and for all.
yeah. It was a excellent post credit scene for Impact, and it's getting people throwing crazy crazy possibilities out there, and who knows? I don't think it's going to happen, but all right, my final score for Impact, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was awesome. Goldberg, your final score.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Madison and Josh lost 2 points for me. Otherwise, it would have been a perfect score.
Yeah, it was a very good episode. CS.
Ooh. I think I'm gonna give it a 7.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Wrestle House saved it for me, but there were quite a few segments that really just kind of made me want to change the channel.
But
So
that to me that happens every week. They have changing channel segments every single week, don't they?
yeah,
Yes, there's that Good Brothers segment was kind of weird. Not change
yeah,
channel say weird, but
but
that was kind
yeah,
of
I
strange.
wasn't really. Yeah, I really was like, not sure what I'm watching right now, but I hope it's over. Uh, so yeah, I mean, it wasn't it
This
wasn't terrible.
this
It just
episode made me pop like 5 times though, and some impacts don't get me to do anything. Like I'm almost falling asleep. This
right.
episode kept me engaged, and
Yeah.
that's kind of where my score is coming from. I was surprised at quite a bit of stuff, and that's all I really can ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I did pop for at least three or four things. Um, but the things that I didn't like were still just like pretty lame. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I even the championship win, I was happy with Eric winning, but I was still like,
Well, maybe it was because Josh ruined the moment for us.
I think Josh ran the moment. That's exactly it.
Yeah. I don't know. They Impact's always had this problem, minus a few times where they just don't let the moment breathe. It's
Yeah.
sad, and I
It's
don't know
all about
why.
me, to Neil Dashwood.
They have to
Who was
cram
that?
so much in. They feel they have to cram so much into a 2 hour show, and I think that's like is I just think like when you get a championship title change, you need to let that you need to make that moment feel special, and
But
they need to do a better job of that. But
I know who that is. That's Tennille Dashwood. See, the difference between, I'm going to just say one more time. The difference between that and what she said about when Nevaeh debuted is nobody knew in the Blue Hell who Nevaeh was. So it's
yeah,
okay to introduce Nevaeh because we didn't know who she was. We're supposed to know Tennille Dashwood if she's coming on the scene and immediately jumping into the women's
yes,
title picture. To say it
yes,
like she was just some nobody. Wait a minute. I know who that
right.
is, Josh. Wait a minute. Is that Heath interfering? Who is that? Like, all right, like we get it. Let's enough. Please, enough.
who's that guy who looks
Uh,
like Heath in the middle of the ring? Oh my God, it's Heath.
yeah.
So, so
this
bad.
is
Who's
this
that
is
guy
good.
that
Like
did
this is we're gonna have our own segment with Goldberg on
wait, who's that guy
commentary.
that just did Heath's finisher in the ring? I mean, who could that be?
Yeah, no kid, no kid. It's like when WWE put Hulk Hogan under the mask and called him Mr.
Right.
America.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that
He's
was
doing
so
it, but
bad.
we like the joke was that we knew it was Hulk Hogan. They're actually leading us to believe we don't know who that guy is
Right,
under the mask. Like
right, right.
Josh and Madison, man, that is my biggest gripe with
Oh,
with Impact right now. It's
oh
time.
gosh.
Make a change,
Oh.
please,
Yeah,
please.
I'm with you there only because I want to see Madison get back in the ring again. I don't want her to be on commentary. So, all right. Well, that's our review. I thought it was a fun show tonight. No, we're not going to go over the PWI 500, the stupid PWI 500, how they screwed Impact again. Not even going to get into that. It'll just make my blood boil. Some of the wrestlers that they put ahead of some others, but whatever. And no, we're not going to go through the all-out card. You might get 2 heel casts this week. One going through the all-out with RVE and AEW dude. So maybe they'll go through it. Maybe they won't. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's it. Any final comments from you guys
I'm
before we
all
send
good.
this thing home? All right. Well, anyways, we'll see you next week. Let's hope Impact can keep doing some good shows. And yeah, that's it. This has been Hurls, Goldberg, and CS. We'll see you next week.